Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ritu. I would like to extend my warm welcome to all present here for this webinar entitled Fundamentals of Creating Visual Presentations, organized by DG Saksham. DG Saksham is initiative of SEMS Welfare Foundation and has developed content for over 300 courses in multiple languages, which range from 4 hours to 6 months for all age groups, from school children, youth, professionals to senior citizens, with over 6,000 trainings till date in various sectors like technology, science, IT, healthcare, finance. Moving on to our today's event, visual presentation is refers to expression of ideas about some matters while using visual aid such as visual media. If used well, visual presentation will support the presentation by strengthening audience, involvement, and impact. To enlighten us on the topic, today we have Dr. Shekhar Trivedi. He is working as professor marketing with GHSIMR Kanpur. He is PhD, MBA, and PGCA from MICA. His areas of interest are digital marketing, sales management, brand management, and advertising communication. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, SEMS and your organization for giving me the opportunity and inviting me to share what I am having, something if you of any use to the audience. However, feel that it is really very useful in terms of that the way the context is changing, and I have been in this profession in the last 25 years, and as a student also we see that how instructional medium or the communication medium have changed for a teacher. So it was on the blackboards, and then I remember when I started career somewhere in 98, 99. So we used to create slides, so those transparencies were there, and then slowly and slowly PowerPoint came, and PowerPoint was something huge, visual respite coming to us, and so much of the flexibility was there in PowerPoint. You can change. So first time we were seeing that there is a text and there is a presentation. Every time you can change. And then what has happened suddenly in the last 10 years or so, I see that the things have really changed a lot on visual. Right. So now, for a teacher or for a presenter to engage people in a presentation has become difficult over the period of time, and we see that there is a prominence of a lot of animation softwares and support system which can help us in creating some good presentations. I remember I created one presentation in 2006, and that was quite ambitious. That means it was more like creating animation on a PowerPoint with the help of all the animation tools. So it was quite a hit among my student, I would say, and I was able to create a very impactful presentation that was on personification of people, and there with the film stars. I've used that animation, everything was. But over the period of time, we see that things become very generic. The same thing which was, say, very attractive at some point of time may become very generic maybe at some other point of time. So whatever I'm sharing with my friends here on this Google Meet is my experience, and somehow I have developed a niche in this area. Most of my presentations are visual in nature. So we keep on seeing some visual presentation most of the time. I'm not saying animation, but visual, where the visual content is more. But now they are the need of the art, because you want to say the things very quickly, and the visuals are able to, people are able to comprehend much clearly what the presenter is saying. So here I now would like to share my presentation. So I'm Dr. Shekhar Trivedi, and I'm working in the marketing area. And one more thing is there, my interest comes also because of being teacher in advertising. And since last 20 years, I've been teaching advertising, and really my journey has been very fruitful in terms of I have interacted with a lot of people and a lot of good books and master advertisers I have interacted with, and people like David O'Leary and what somebody from J. Walter Thompson was my friend. So with these people, and their interaction, I saw that I learned slowly and slowly. I picked up certain fundamentals in the area of not only advertising but how to say something visual. So what we see is that when we are talking about a visual presentation, it's where we largely communicate the meaning through some type of visual elements. So now these visual elements can be photos, graphics, caricatures, flowcharts, or icons. And one big boon for us is that Google is there, and you have a lot of whole host of material, visual material, different type of images, caricatures, icons available on internet. So that means internet is full of resources. A lot of resources are there, and we are very much ready to go for creating some good visual presentation. So we see that in terms of when we say visual, it can be a photo, it can be some type of graphics, it can be caricatures, it can be flowcharts, it can be icons. Now, why I am putting all these in different formats? Because when we are searching, then we should be very much clear that whether we are searching a human icon or human caricature or a graphic or a human photograph or a human photograph with a orange background or a cartoon in orange background or simply a background in texture. So those type of things should be clear that what we are trying to search. So everything is there on internet. We should be clear that what actually our need is and what we like to put on slide. So when we are creating a visual presentation, and whatever I'm sharing with you, it's more of influence of advertising. So when you are talking about creating a visual presentation, then you have to be very much clear that whether you like to say everything in a slide or most of the slides in your presentation with the help of photograph only, or there will be a photograph and just text would be an add-on. It will be acting as supporting text, or there will be a text, but photo is more like an add-on, right? So sometimes photo is doing the main job. Sometimes photo is the main element and text is supporting it. Sometimes photo actually is conveying the main meaning and text is conveying the main meaning and the photo is supporting it. Or many times we see that actually it is, or the slide actually is comprising of text in general, and the photograph is just incidental in nature. So that we have seen in most of the business newspapers where the article runs and there is some type of incidental or symbolic photograph, which generally is a stock photograph from the internet. So first thing is that when we are creating a visual presentation, we should be very much clear that my whole presentation would be 80% visual, or it will be more of 50-50%, or what. So you have to decide the proportion, and certainly it not depends on the type of topic you are with. Okay. Then the first, with all these things, the first thing which I every time, and maybe my friends here on the Google Meet must be doing the same thing, that when I'm creating a presentation, and especially the visual presentation, I try to create some type of storyboard or some type of roughs. So I'll be taking the notepad. I'm having a notepad and I'll be drawing the slide. And I'll be just creating some type of rough sketches that how my slide would be looking like. So it will be having the photograph here, the text here, or the photograph here, or the text here. So that when I actually am creating the slides, I should be very much aware about how that slide will be looking like, what type of elements are needed for that slides, how many photographs, what type of photographs are needed. So accordingly, then we have to arrange or source everything from the internet. So this is more of a method which we should adopt. So if we have say 12 slide presentation, so some 12 roughs should be there. And I would say certainly if you are only the person who is creating, who is thinking also, and who is creating the presentation. So here, I was talking about that most of the presentation which we should make is or should be in the white background, right? Now with this white background, uh, the beauty is that you haven't have to this white patch is not visible. So if you are having this different color background, then generally most of the downloaded photographs have this type of patch. But now things are changing. So if we put some type of photograph here, this white patch will get dissolved in the background color, that is the white light. One tool has come, probably you might be knowing it, just sharing with you. Uh, this is the tool. You might be knowing this. Remove BG. And I see that this is a very effective tool. And we were just thinking about Photoshop. Then. Now you see, this is I'm sharing with you photograph. This is one photograph of right. Are you able to see the photograph? This one. This is of Neeraj Chopra, right? So now we'll try to remove the background of this photograph. This is photograph NC1. Okay. So here we go, and I have searched for remove.pg. Okay. Now I am uploading this photograph, and this is a very helpful tool. Very helpful. Now you see that white that background has been removed. Now this when you take it on the slide, you don't have that white patch, which generally. So now with the help of this tool, that much difficulty is not there having a white background, right? Once again, I will be doing with the other photograph, right? Once again, I have clicked this remove BG tool, and I will test with another photograph. This photograph I will test. Right now, what we see is again in this case the background has been removed. So the point what I am trying to say is that first thing first, that in general most of the time whenever we are downloading any type of photograph in a bid to create a visual presentation, we have white patch. Now we can have these white patches removed with the help of remove PG tool. Further, you must have seen within PowerPoint you have some recoloring option on the top right of the menu. Right, so you have somewhere here probably just somewhere here. When you click a photograph, yeah, okay, it comes here. But then we can change these type of colors, right? Colors of these, and set a transparent color mode also. And this white patch can be removed, but it does not work the way the remove PG tool works. So further, so now I would like to make a third point. This is about how to keep some type of text on the slide. Now you see, font should not be arbitrarily designed. Many times font style goes against the meaning of text. Now you have a lot of fonts like Comic Sans is there, you know. Now Comic Sans you cannot put certainly in um, say more of a corporate presentation. Comic Sans can be there in some type of posters of some type of fest. So, so the text or the font which you are using, that should be aligned to a particular context. At some point of time, then serif fonts were very much used in last 100 years or so. Then Times Roman has come, that also is of serif family. But slowly and slowly we saw then the acceptance of Arial increased, and then we saw that Calibri is now used. So what we see is that over the period of time, the new font comes into fashion, and that becomes the habits of eyes. This is also a topic on that how something becomes habit uh, to the eyes and looks good or don't look good. Uh, so the font should be according to the context which you are talking about. Font should follow the visual personality. It should be in sync with the context being mentioned. Masculine fonts are Centenary, the Goldsmith. These two fonts are which are very very masculine. Most of the male brands would be using masculine fonts to add to the meaning of what their brand stand for. Femina magazine changed its front page font from slender curvilinear to bold. Right. So that was the change. That Femina magazine changed its front page font from slender curvilinear to bold. Why I am saying this? That because over the period of time, the personality of women has also changed. So if we talk about women of 70s, 80s, and how it has changed in 90s, and really it has become very, very bold in this decade. And with the advertisement of pleasure in India, we have a Scootrate, which was launched somewhere in 2008, pleasure. And there they used the tagline that why the boy should have all the fun. So why the girl should not have the fun. So that's how the context keeps changing. And so once the context is changing, then these fonts also would be changing. Fonts would be changing for women. Font would be changing for women magazine. Now you see one thing. Whatever I have said here, that is only with the help of the text. Right? Now you see and see very minutely, slowly and slowly as I will be turning the slide how I'll be making the things visually more appealing, right? So this is a very, very generic look. Okay. Now, second is this, right? Now you see this, the difference between this and this. This is looking to be very, very crowded, and this is looking out to be bit more, visually appealing, bit visually more appealing than the previous. Now, as a teacher, I have experienced this a lot while I'm sitting in the audience also. So, when I'm using it for class, a class size of 30 feet by 30 feet, I generally use 24 font size. And when I'm in Audi, when I have to make the presentation on Audi, then we'll be using a 32 font size. So we have to be very much clear on this. And that's what it happens that if I go to the Audi for representation and there I am having a 24 font size, probably the person sitting till say fifth or sixth row would be able to see my text. Beyond that, people will not be able to see my text. So a good presenter keeps everything in mind about the, the size of the hall also, and on it depends on the type of fonts. So you see this one and this one, right? Bit of a feeling. Now just see further in the next slide how it will change. Just see. So this I am just stating as an example. This here the interline inter-sentence spacing is not there, right? So interline inter-sentence spacing is somewhat same. But as we know, inter-sentence spacing has increased. But here what I am trying to say is that this this font I'll be using for my class, and this font I'll be using for a bigger hall. I will say a hall, not a bigger hall, but a hall, right? So we have to see that what type of font size we are using. Okay, further. You see this one, this, 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 this. So just from this slide to this slide, what further I have done is that I have increased the interline spacing. Again, so I'm trying to make it more and more visually appealing. So again, I go back to this slide. Just see this slide, very crowded. Then this slide, you give space around the text, so it looks better. Then this is for bit small audio. Then here I have increased the interline spacing, right? And then I do this, right? So what slowly and slowly I am making my presentation better and better, trying to make better. I'm talking about the signs right now. I'm not saying that this is very unique thing. Font should not be arbitrarily designed. So something which is the main phrase of the sentence, I'll be putting it in red or any other color. So this was it. You see, from this to this. That's how we can make the things more appealing. Now you see the same thing I am saying. Femina magazine changes front page from slender curvilinear to this. So I am saying the same thing. Font should not be arbitrarily designed. Font should follow the visual personality. What more I have done is that I have edited the text. I have truncated the text. Right. So it is said. Somebody, I think David Ogilvy himself, the founder of Ogilvy and Mather himself, the people who make Cadbury's advertisement and Fabicol advertisement. So this person has said that somewhere that writing is not an art. Writing is not an art. Editing is. That's such a nice thing he has said. Writing is not an art. Editing is. And I do remember the graduation days when we keep on writing so many words for the in during the examination, right? So we are filling the pages and pages. So it's not. And then once we come to professional level, we see that how succinctly, briefly we have to say something, right? So that's what I am doing. So not you see, not only that I have changed the way the text would be looking like, but also I have edited. I have just kept the main line, right? Why? Whatever I am talking about remains same. Femina magazine changes front to end from slender curvilinear to bold. Okay. Yes. Right. So now this becomes more appealing. So what I'm trying to say, at least we can do this. And now I have further raised the level. Font should not be arbitrary. Font should follow the visual personality. Western font and certainly goes with Tamina magazine changes front page. Now I have used the visual. Now I have used the visual. Visuals for the fourth point. From slender, from slender font to curvilinear to bold. So now they use more of a bold font. However, this is having serif. This is a serif font. So with a change in personality of the target segment, the product, you have to change the fonts. Then further you see, again I am saying the same thing. Just see, now what I am doing is I am using the focused approach. I am not saying the 4 points in the same slide. I now will be saying 1 point in a one slide with the help of a visual. 1 point in the one slide with the help of visual. Now we are coming near to visual presentation. Font should not be arbitrarily designed, right? Font should follow the visual personality, right? So these are more of a masculine fonts. Then font should follow the visual personality. Again, I have said differently. Then use a masculine font for masculine product. Again, I have said separately. Then weak feminine to bold women. Now you see the point which I was talking about the magazine, that I have further truncated to weak feminine to bold women. Now here we know that most of the job would be either done by the photographs or the narrator himself. Once the slide comes, the narrator will be explaining what he wants to or she wants to convey. So what we see is that finally we come from this journey to this journey, from being very generic to bit visually appealing, the understanding in a small, a bigger room, then interline spacing, then adding the color to editing the sentence, then changing the color of the main phrase, which is conveying the main meaning, and then this can be there, right? So, and then you can take all those 4 points in a different slide with the help of the visuals, right? Okay. So here comes the end of the third point. Now the fourth point. I did my post graduation certificate in advertising from Mudra Institute of Communication, and I remember one day, ma'am, it was the afternoon, arriving. We were arriving to lunch, and then ma'am said that okay, after lunch we'll be seeing the movie. We were very much happy. We will be seeing the movie, and then we came back, and then the name of the movie which was shown to us, and that movie was of 2 hours. That was a 2 hour of movie, and the name of the movie was Helvetica. Helvetica means that movie was on the Helvetica font. Helvetica font. What is this Helvetica font? Helvetica family. It is said about Helvetica family that the visual clarity of this font is the highest, and the use of Helvetica font can be found in most of the places. So if we see this, so if you see all these fonts are Helvetica, all these fonts are using Helvetica. Now you and most of the signs in airports, bus stations, malls, they use Helvetica font. For Helvetica, it is said that you can read Helvetica from far off distance, right? So, company and these places like public places like airports, they generally use Helvetica font. So, the objective of telling you is that that can be the importance of some type of font, that how these fonts will be used in certain places because of their visual clarity and the distinctness. Means if you are seeing from the far off places, you are clearly able to read that it is Delhi and not say DILE or something else. Right? So the things are very much clear. Now, when we are putting the text, then what we should do, and you are very keen that we should follow this. So most of the time we should do left alignment. We should avoid this. So what do you see is, just tell me again the quality of the sound, right? So when we are talking about how the text should be kept, then this text can be kept generally in the left aligned manner. We should allow, we should avoid this central alignment, and we should not do this. And why we should not do this? Because if you try to read this, then it is very difficult for you to do. This is left aligned. This is how we are used to reading, because generally the format we are seeing in book. But my dear friends, in which type of countries we should be using this type of alignment? Can anybody tell me? In which type of country will be using this type of alignment instead
Sir,
of
I
this?
guess US. I
Sorry,
guess US. US.
US. Okay. Mhm.
Not in India,
Uh,
sir.
See, what I'm trying to say is that we have to see that how eyes relate to the font. So, in general, in when we are reading English, then we'll be reading from left to right, right? But in the Arabic nations, where Urdu is read, so Urdu is read from this side to this side. So when we have created the presentation for somewhere, say in UAE, in Urdu or something like that, so there people's I have the habit of reading from right to left. My point is you have to see what is the habit of the eye in any country. And this you must be very much clear with that we are in the habit of reading a newspaper. And when we go to some other city or say we are reading another newspaper, we somehow we will be going through it, but somehow we are not feeling very, very comfortable. And finally we'll be keeping it. Now that is because of the fonts, interline spacing habits which the eyes have formed, and the column size or the layouts of the newspaper, which our eyes have become customary. So the bottom line of this principle which I am showing you is that it's not what I am saying that you should follow, but you have to see that what is the reading habit in any country or of any type of audience. And accordingly, we should go for such type of alignment. In general, we use justify, right? So, but however, I have said that we should not centrally align the text, but I have created two slides where I used the central alignment, and I saw that somehow in this context, the way it has been used here, this central alignment is looking very good in such a case. Now, again, what I am trying to say is that it is not that what I am saying is important. It is something you should yourself see that if there is a small amount of text to be kept at the center, then okay, you can do it with the help of central alignment. So that's what we have to experiment. Then another point that whenever we are presenting, we should have a connectivity. Means there should be a visual signature of the presentation we are doing. So you see, this is again one of the presentation of mine, and what I have done is that I have created one signature, created which I have taken from Google, and I have put in all the left bottom corner of all my slides. So there comes an integration, means it bounds all the slide into one, and somehow then you are also able to communicate about your logo or whatever you are having. So you see, this integration is a very small thing, but it looks good because when we are talking about visual presentation, these are the small things which will be creating the difference. So what we see is, you see now my slides, just see this slide. Now you see on the left bottom corner, wherever white space is available, there is a I. So I began with this. So I have created that, told you subconsciously that this is my signature, and this signature I'll be using at the left bottom corner wherever I'll be allowed for. So I am using this left bottom signature in all the lines. Okay. Now this is the 7th point. What I want to suggest, can anybody tell? It's a very simple thing. Visually, you can understand what I'm trying to say. Can anybody?
So you are trying to give the blur effect as well as the effect which is over here in Jungle Book clarity. You are trying to say
Yeah.
how much clarity is going.
Yeah. So the point which actually has hurt as a teacher many times seeing the presentation of students and they say that what your suggestion is. Point is that you have used their slides and then there are photographs in different slides. Now what happens? That when you are having slides, when you have used the photograph, see, that's what it is. that photographs are available on Google like anything, right? But then we should have the intelligence to use the photograph. What I'm trying to say is that the visual quality of the photograph should be equal in all the slides. It should not be that in one slide quality is very good, in other slide the quality is
Bad.
mediocre, or maybe in another slide quality is uh, further worse. So certainly what you said is that first thing first, that we should have a good quality photograph. First thing first. Second is whatever quality of photograph we are using, the same clarity should be there in all the photograph in all the slides. Second, that when we are using these photographs, then we should decide that what color family we will be choosing. So say that most of my colors will be around, if you see in this slide, this we have a white, and then we have yellow, and then green, and a dark green, and the very dark green, and the black. Means we are able to see the spectrum of colors. Now we will be having the slides, most of the photograph, which we can get in these colors only, right? And that is very much there, probably you must be knowing that it is about a search. Many times we don't give much heed to it. So when we are searching, right? So say now Google is very intelligent. They themselves have started giving yellow background is the yellow PNG, that is there. Now when we go to it, yellow background, right? So we have to see that, right? So we have to see the visual quality of it. Yeah, you see this one. So here we are getting the size, right? So again, you can get a lot of help from this. That whatever size you are having, okay, uh, so I want medium size photograph. So here I am making, ensuring the quality of photograph. And then when I am talking about the spectrum of colors, here I have set yellow background. So probably yellow background would be coming. But suppose I just say background. Right? Okay. And in background I say color family. Right. So now in this we get all type of photograph in green, or we say something like, okay, green in yellow background. I'm trying. I have not worked with this, but I keep on doing this. That much I know. But this instance, if you be giving anything or not, that I have to see. Okay, so now you have here at least, you know, okay, other maybe. Now this is in yellow background, and this is uh, this can be maybe that I'm not getting right now. But that's how we have to keep control of colors in our presentation, and we should make sure that we actually are working with some similar type of color family in our whole presentation. And all these big brands, when you talk about, like when I teach brand management, so I am talking about Coke brand policy, like Coke, Samsung brand policy guidebook, and there they are very much clear. Their guideline is of 100 pages, and they are very much clear that what type of photograph they would be having, what type of color family will be in their photograph. So that's why when we are seeing some type of photograph, we look more of a branded or Samsung type of ad. Samsung type of ad should look like a Samsung type of ad, and why it is because of that they are following those all brand guidelines. So this I told you. Now text, mostly we see we put this way, right? So what further again I am talking about in other way, that we can put it in a visually appealing format. There was one way which I have already told you. This is more of a graphic, and certainly here we need to either some type of ready portals are there. You can create these different type of design, um, and probably in the when we make website, then CSS sheets are there. With the help of that, we can actually get that how similar type of text can be put into some different type of visual format. So it is the same thing which is going on, but it is in different type of formats. So now the format and the color you will be using with reference to the presentation color you have chosen or the brand you are representing. So that's how we do it. But here, certainly, we might be requiring some bigger artwork. So we should know Illustrator, we should know Photoshop or Corel. This is of something of the past, of haunting past. This we should not do. Just because of these fonts are different type of fonts are available in some type of word art. Now this has become is having a past connotation or low status, lesser status connotations. So most of the time we should see that whatever big brands are there, what type of fonts they are using. So that associations get developed. So if you ask me, Harvard would be creating a catalog. Probably they will be creating catalog in nine font size, maroon color background, and they will be having maybe 2.5 line space. Now once they do it, they create a new type of visual identity. And since our name is there, the same visual identity gets or attaches a status. And then the other brands start following it, and other brands start following such type of things. So this has become the thing of the past. Now, play with color in text. However, I have told you in the beginning, but these are the ways we can do something more with text. And this is the easier part of it. The previous thing, previous slides, I show you that that might be requiring Illustrator or Google Draw. But here, this much we can do it. So there, play with colors in text, play with color in text. That we can do. Now, this will not do. Means again, when we are selecting icons, icons should have the similar structure. Means if suppose we are choosing this icon, right? So we should choose icons of this nature in all our slides. It should not be that in one slide this icon is there, in other slide this icon, this type of icon is there, another slide this type of icon is there. So the consistency of the visual meaning should remain there. So and that is I have experimented with Google. You get easily different type of option. So you see the icons are there, and they are of certain family. So if we have a subscription, it will always be better. If we are professional and we have a subscription of certain sites, so we can get plenty of visuals of similar nature, right? So the point remains that we should use similar type of icon in all our slides. Consistency is the key. So use icons to make the slide. Use icons to make the slide more visual, right? Then again, same point. Uh, Only many times we don't have much time with us, but we have plenty of different type of icons, and we can always make use of them. Now this is picturizing the text. The text itself can be picturized. One was method of that you have changed the color of the font, but this is picturizing text. Again, this thing we have to we can create in PowerPoint itself, and then we can take a screenshot and can, or may not be taking screenshot. So we have to think about that this type of headlines can be picturized. So basically, when we are doing something like this, we call it as picturizing the text. So this I am saying in the end, in fact, 90% of the information transmitted to the brain is visual, and that's why we should go for the visual presentation. This is a logical concept can be told through vertical presentation, right? This is these are the clips from one of my visual presentations. So what I do is I have used vertical transition, right? So slide will be moving from bottom to top. They are moving, and you see what I have done in this case is that I have created one line, right? And this line gives a good when the slides are making a transition. This was about 40 slides presentation, and here I have consistently used this line, and whatever narration I am doing throughout along this line. And so once we are making this transition, it looks good, right? Then talk to people by entering as character. Many times if this is my photograph, so I have taken the photograph here, and then you can play to enter in the slide as a character, right? Then what more I do is that in my presentation, many times in class, I will be involving the name of the student. So now for this slide, when I use it in different batches, one thing I have to do is that I have changed the name of the students, because it should be the name of the batch. And then once you have used the name of those people from the audience, suddenly there comes an engagement. So this actually this slide again is a part of that same presentation which I was showing, the vertical transition. And here I was actually telling about the incentive system. You see, incentive system is something very numerical. But in this presentation, I took as a challenge. Let's see that how I can explain about incentive system with the help of visuals. So in my slides, generally I use this type of visuals. So that was all from my side. Uh, Whatever experience I am having, little bit I shared with you. Hopefully, this will be useful to you. Ma'am, over to you. And thanks for patiently listening, and to everybody for joining this afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, actually, I am. Good evening, good afternoon, sir. I am Kritika this side, and even I am a BMM student, and I have taken advertising as my specialization. But sir, I have a doubt that if we promote something in the social media, it is not appropriate. I'm not able to get the significance that how to promote more creative and attractive.
See, as far as this question is concerned, there can be many answers to it, because here you have to decide about what message you are conveying. It's not only about being visual, but what message you are conveying, how you will be conveying it. That will be whether that will be interesting to people, or visually it will be more like meme, or some type of story you will be telling, some type of I remember um, in social media they post generally telling about a story in say 5 or 6 slides. I think that is working more. One thing, as far as my presentation is concerned and your question is concerned, I would say that the post should be simple. It should not have lot many elements in it.
So
That is
like,
one thing. It should be very pleasing to the eyes. Not I mean, there was a time that when a local businessman was putting a hoarding, they used to write everything because they have taken the hoarding 50,000 per month. So they were thinking that the whole 20 by 10 feet space belongs to them. No, like in advertising, Bill Burnback somewhere said he charged some immense amount for creating the Beetle advertising. You remember Beetle car was there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Beetle, the whole layout was there, and small Beetle car was at the center. So client asked, okay, why you are charging so much of money? So he said that I am not charging for this car. I am charging for the space which I have left
Okay.
blank.
Okay.
I am charging say 10 crores of rupees for the space which I have left because that will be worth it. So basically, he was talking about the simplicity uh, which should be there in the whole advertisement. And in fact, one book is also there on that. Right now, I'm not getting the name of the book. Maybe to Ritu ma'am, I'll be communicating with the book. Then
Okay.
these are the books from big advertisers having a lot of experience.
Sir, sir, one more question. Last question it is. So, yeah, like I have worked as an advertiser in one of the company. The system was not so specific that to approach the client it is not audible as well as the specific reason was not there. So, can I approach to another client for the advertiser as an advertiser job where I can apply more? Even in how can I apply more for the advertising thing?
It's okay. I have an answer to this. First thing first, that if you are applying for advertising, if you are applying for digital marketing, one should have a portfolio.
Okay.
So you
What kind
should
of
build a
portfolio?
portfolio. Portfolio is that you create an objective, take some problem, create a set of advertisement, and that will be a portfolio.
Okay.
So nowadays, now things are easy. We have a printer and everything, and software and Canva. So you can create a whole set of portfolio with very very scientifically written campaign and the visuals. And then you go to approach agency that I have created an advertisement on these brands with my date and guides. So now they have something substantial. Instead of going and saying that I'm creative, it's always better to have portfolio. Use.
So, where should I apply for the opportunity? Because I'm living in a small town that is Bhilai. So, I was working in Bombay previously. So, due to lockdown, I have to come back. So, how can I apply again and again? So, where all the good opportunity will be there? Can you guide through?
Kritika, I think in this guidance is just telling you the truth that things in this area of advertising is not very easy. In general, getting job is not easy. In advertising is generally difficult,
Yeah.
and mostly it runs through references.
Okay.
And you should have a reference. So what you should do is that you should work through LinkedIn, you should work through portfolio. If you are your bhaiya is there in some company and approach, he's a brand manager brand. Certainly, the reference they generally take people through references
Okay.
most of the time. I'm not saying this is only the gospel. Good. So
Okay.
yes, we have a disadvantage in terms of whenever we are applying for advertising. Very different.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kritika. And so there is a question that do you think human will be complete robots and artificial intelligence in the near future related to visual presentation in different sectors?
Yes, yes. If Google is getting very aggressive on everything, I I'm very worried and afraid that even if we are talking about that AI and all this, we'll at least be leaving the space for poetry and such type of thing. But in the next 10 years, with the help of artificial intelligence and if the software goes through all the poets, the poems, and everything, it will be able to learn how the phrases and sentences and proses are created, and then they can create a poem also. That is my thinking.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Didi Shiksham would like to thank you for giving us your precious time and sharing your knowledge with us. Thanks a lot. to our audience for attending this event. I hope that you gained knowledge and we will look forward to see you in the next event.